All right, you guys have been waiting for this for a long time. Welcome back to review and discussion. It has been a while since we've delved into this. Thank you all for being so patient with this. We have a lot to talk about, so I'm literally pumping these out tonight. So, let's just jump into this with episode 312. Arlo and Cassandra are surveying the town, as Arlo is even impressed by her ability usage. After a bit of surveying, though, for at least an hour or so, Cassandra notices that a particular building stands out because no one has entered or exited the building for at least 1 hour. So, really cool usage of Cassandra's ability that we get to see. It's kind of really interesting to see, kind of more unique usage of abilities. John is definitely like very much a standout for Wait a minute. Does Cassandra have another meta ability? More on that when we get to it, actually. But nonetheless, let me write that down real quick, actually. But it's cool to see more unique usage of abilities. John and Ison, I feel, are the most kind of unique we've seen, where they're able to use their abilities in more ways than one compared to everyone else. Certainly more than Arlo can, and even Sarah. But Cassandra being able to not only use her particles as weapons or attacks, but she can also use it to scout. They're basically like little eyes, essentially, from what I'm gathering. So it's cool to be able to see her do that with it. Nonetheless, so they enter into the building, and the receptionist tells them that it's a private building, and Cassandra just says, I need to go to the bathroom real quick, can I use it? And the receptionist says, yeah. As she heads towards it, Cassandra notices the elevators, and while in the bathroom, she uses her ability to scan through the building as well. Now, she points that the elevators she saw are not being used. Now, while she's away, though, we see the security clearly keeping an eye on everything, and they do notice Arlo in one of the cameras, and Arlo specifically notices that. Keep that in mind. I'm going to do a thing later. So, meanwhile, though, the receptionist is looking up Arlo and Cass's records and verifies that they're both with the Bureau of Authority, which I guess in the real world you can look up stuff for people in the government and everything. So I guess that's not too out of the ordinary, but it is really interesting and a bit scary to see that this woman is onto them. Now, but she verifies that they're with the Bureau. Meanwhile, Arlo notices that there's no phone reception despite them being in the middle of the town. When Cassandra returns and they try to leave, Arlo immediately recognizes that they've been dampened and are being trapped as gates try to shut down on the entrances. So, he tries to stop the gate from closing, but his barrier can't hold, and Cassandra tries to stop the receptionist, but she phases through the floor. And I notice it's a very similar ability to what was used back in that was used by the apartment invaders way back when, and also by the ambushers at Rowden Hill in episode 59. So, it even has a similar color to the ability that was used in that episode. Despite her not being there, or at least not on screen, maybe she was kind of a background figure or anything. We never see her at Rowden Hill, and we don't see a phaser pop out or anything. We just see it quickly. Anyway, nonetheless, I think she is the origin of the phasing ability. And I will also point out, it is a different aura color and everything that was used by the House Invaders in episode 72. So, after she's gone, Arlo immediately warns Cass that they're being watched, and Cass then conveniently looks at the direction of one of the cameras. Again, keep this in mind because I'm going to do a thing later. And before disabling it with her ability, and begins disabling all the cameras around. And I gotta admit, it's still a smart move because they can't be tracked at this point. So she tries to smash the blockade of the door, but it's unsuccessful. And when she questions if they were set up like this, Arlo informs her that all of Spectre's tactics, like dampening high tiers, then disabling them. Cassandra then wonders how innocent he really is. And I get why she questions it, but does no one in the authorities know about Rowden Hill? Like, do they not know what's happened? Like, maybe it's because Sarah, like, maybe it is because, like, they kind of avoided the whole thing with Sarah and everything, but it's just kind of like, does no one really know? Like, is no one really talking about this? Maybe they are keeping it under wraps. That way information doesn't leak out. I get that. But I'm like, I feel like there should be something. Anyway. So. And it was definitely Spectre the ones behind the attack because they should know that. They should know that Spectre was the one behind that attack. Anyway. Afterwards, they try and contact the Bureau but are unsuccessful. Obviously, the computer is shut down and there's no phone service. Arlo already confirmed that. But then Spectre unleashes gas into the room to try and knock them unconscious. But Arlo immediately activates his barrier. And honestly, we get a really awesome Arlo moment in this episode that I like. Because he tells Cassandra what's about to follow next. They'll be cornered. They'll be disabled. And they'll be forced to follow Spectre's orders. And Cassandra realizes that Arlo's afraid. And this is honestly a really, in my opinion, a really perfect moment, honestly. And it's perfect because the first time that they encountered Spectre in a scale like this, Seraphina, the strongest person in school, was disabled. The last time this happened, John, the second strongest, was disabled as well by Spectre, and they tried to force him to become an asset. And honestly, John is also their greatest asset. Anyway, but this time around, it's Arlo who's now the last strongest student in school. He's third in line. And it's his turn because neither Sarah nor John are here to back him up. And let's be honest, as much as he may not completely agree with everything that John and Sarah do, John especially, they have both still gotten Arlo out of a lot of heat. And they have both still covered Arlo a lot, especially when it came to Spectre. John especially. John and Arlo have more experience together with dealing with Spectre than him and Sarah do. So, it's a really cool scene that Arlo is scared. And Cassandra also has an amazing moment of trying to calm him down, acting as a leader, like a queen would, the head of the school. And she mentors him and reassures him of his strength. And it's an amazing moment, honestly. I really like it. And like I said in my initial reaction to the episode, I really like that Ray's mentor figure is the one being Arlo's mentor figure. It's really nice to see, honestly, and I hope we get to see more of it because I do like the Arlo and Cassandra dynamic. I think it's really cool because, yeah, it's Arlo's predecessor's predecessor. And I think that they both could learn a lot from each other. And honestly, like I said, as stupid as I don't want to say stupid, as bad of moments she may have, Cassandra does still genuinely seem like a good person within the authorities. She doesn't seem like a bad person by any means So, it's really cool, and I really hope we get to see that continue with the two of them. Now, the receptionist returns, and yeah, she returns in the exact same way as episode 259. Same portal out of the floor and everything. Like I'm saying, I'm pretty sure that the phasing ability that was used at Rowden Hill to get people out of the ground, I'm pretty sure it originates from her. So, but like I said, was she at Rowden Hill or did they have her ability? So, yeah, Like I said, though, I couldn't really find her at Rowden Hill, and no one else specifically uses the ability during that time. Anyway, Arlo and Cassandra play unconscious, and she believes and verifies the act, and another man comes in with 2 disablers. Cassandra immediately, though, slashes the disabler out of the guy's hand and restrains him, while Arlo prevents the lady from escaping by entrapping her with a barrier bubble, which she cannot phase through. And honestly, Cassandra does some absolute boss shit and threatens disabling the guy to get some info. So, yeah, it was really cool. I can't lie. Seeing Cassandra take charge of the situation, that was fucking hype. That was so cool. But yeah, honestly, despite a few issues with this episode, it's still really good, and there's some seriously great character moments in it. And so, for both Arlo and Cassandra, I'd honestly say that this episode is a level 8 episode. And yeah, like I said, there's a few issues with this episode, mainly in regards to this whole camera situation. But nonetheless, it's still really good. I still like it a lot. And with that being said, guys, let me know what you all thought about the episode down below in the comments. And as always, see you, Space Cowboy.